Good afternoon, Your Excellency, Mr. Ambassador Santosh Jha, Mr. Nicolas Gross, Honorary Consul, dear Indian Diaspora. On behalf of IAL, I welcome you all for Digital Holi event. At the same time, we officially kickstart our nation's 75th Independence Day. This is a year-long program. 2021 is special for IAL. On 14th April, IAL will be celebrating 30 years. I'm very glad to share is that IAL is one of the oldest organizations in Luxembourg. Thanks to all the IAL founding members. Today, we are here to celebrate Digital Holi and the kickstart of India at 75. Holi is a festival of color, festival of love, festival of spring. Due to current situation, we have decided to celebrate Holi digitally in a storytelling format by two popular women storytellers from India who will tell stories around Holi and the significance of colors and at the same time talk about the Indian freedom fighters and India's independence. Enjoy the event. Now, I thank and invite Mr. Ambassador to kickstart the program. Please, Mr. Ambassador.
Namaskar, good afternoon. Thank you for inviting me to the Holi celebrations by the Indian Association of Luxembourg. At the very outset, let me begin by wishing everyone a very happy and joyous Holi. May the festival fill our lives with colors of hope and joy. I extend my best wishes to Mr. Selvaraj, President, and other representatives of the Indian Association of Luxembourg for putting together a celebration for Holi and India at 75. I also wish to thank and welcome members of the Indian diaspora and all friends of India in Europe for joining us in our virtual celebrations today. The Indian Association has done great work serving as a social and cultural platform for the Indian community in Luxembourg and fostering friendship between Indians and international communities residing in Luxembourg. I thank them for their efforts and commitment to share our culture and traditions with our friends in Europe. Holi is the festival of colors and spring. As winters give way to spring, nature comes alive with flowers and trees with varied hues. Holi, as a festival of colors, is an ode to nature itself. In all its beautiful shades and splashes of colors, people indulge in this festival to celebrate brotherhood and the onset of spring in India. Holi is about celebrating happiness with friends and family. Holi is celebrated to mark the victory of truth over evil, the victory of Prahalad over King Hiranyakashipu. The ritual of playing Holi with colors has been immortalized in the depictions of Lord Krishna playing Holi with gopis of Braj. Even today, Holi rituals in Braj regions, Mathura, Vrindavan, Govardhan, Gokul, Nandagaon, and Barsana are famous for their Holi celebrations. Today, we are also commencing the celebrations of India at 75. In this regard, it gives me great pleasure that Indian Association of Luxembourg has taken the initiative to bring the stories of our freedom fighters to our younger generations. We have Jiva Jagunath and Seema Wahi Mukherjee who will be narrating the stories of Holi and Indian freedom fighters for your young audiences. I hope that these diverse stories of Indian mythology and history will appeal to the young and old alike. I once again wish all the participants and viewers a very happy Holi. May the festival bring us all joy, happiness and well-being. Happy Holi, stay healthy, stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. Now I welcome Mr. Nicolas Gross. Mr. Nicolas Gross, please.
My dear friends from the Indian community in Luxembourg, I hope you're doing okay, and I hope you're enjoying this first sunshine of spring, which means Holi is around the corner. I remember celebrating Holi in India probably 25 years ago when I was there a lot. It was always an amazing celebration of happiness, of joy, of colors. And by this message, I want to wish you a very happy Holi to all of you. I hope this winter has not been too long. I know you are being very strong in your families. Family is a very Indian strength, and I hope this community in Luxembourg, which I think is around 3,000 people now, has been able to sustain these very difficult times. We have been seeing some of you in the office of our consulate for the paperwork. I hope the consulate is doing a good job for all of you. If not, you have to let me know. We will move the consulate very soon to another location in the center of town, which will make it hopefully more convenient for you because there will be more space. And Suchata will be having a bigger place. So again, I wish you all a very happy Holi. I think the whole world should celebrate Holi because it's a fantastic festival that is full of joy and is a great moment every year in India and all over the world, where the Indian community celebrates the arrival of spring. All the best, keep strong, and I think better days are ahead of us very soon. I'm very optimistic now, and I hope I get to see some of you in the near future. My best, Nicholas.
Hello and welcome to the Digital Holi 2021 and India at 75 celebrations brought to you by the Indian Association Luxembourg. And Holi, of course, is a festival of colors. It's an opportunity to get together with friends and family and celebrate with those beautiful colors. But of course, in today's situation, we can't do that. So we've turned that on to do it digitally with you. And with Holi, you have, the stories behind it. There's obviously mythology that comes with it. And with India at 75, it's the celebration of India's independence, 75 years of independence, and that starts now and goes all the way through to August 2022. And the number of stories that are associated with freedom fighters and how India won its independence and so on. And it is my pleasure to introduce you to two wonderful storytellers, Jiva Raghunath and Seema Vahi Mukherjee, who is going to fill us with tales and take you to this land of imagination. Jiva Raghunath is a professional storyteller and one of the pioneers of storytelling in India, and she's been performing in more than 27 countries, and she runs her own international storytelling festival. It's called Under the Alamaram, or Under the Banyan Tree, for the last 6 years. And she's been able to entertain more than 50,000 children. She's a publisher of a number of books, I think 12 in number, and she's also translated a number of them from Tamil to English. She has won a number of prizes, some significant ones, and Jiva uses her voice, and that's her main prop, and I'm sure she's going to keep you spellbound with her voice and through her stories. And it's also, she's been running a number of workshops which have been sort of run around the world, and she takes or draws her inspiration and also tells you stories which are Indian folklore, Asian folklore, European stories, fairy tales, you name it, that's all part of her repertoire. Jiva Raghunathan.
Guru Maharaj, Guru Jai Jai, Rama Nama Sat Guru Jai Jai, Guru Maharaj, Guru Jai Jai, Yesu Nama Sadguru Jai Jai, Guru Maharaj Guru Jai Jai, Allah Nama Sadguru Jai Jai, Rama Nama Sadguru Jai Jai, Yesu Nama Sadguru Jai Jai, Allah Nama Sadguru Jai Jai. Wondering why I'm singing that song? Yes, because Gandhiji loved this song. It's one of his favorite songs because he said, no differences in mankind, we are all one. That beautiful? Yes, but what am I saying it now? What connection? Yes, we're going to celebrate 75 years of independence next year. Yay. Yes, and we have started celebrations already and marking it this time during Holi. So Holi, India, how can we connect? Colors. Yes, India colors. Yes, in the flags of India, a flag of India. You know the colors, but you know, there were many flags before the current flag. Yeah, the first flag was designed in 1906. It had a green band with lotus, it had yellow with a writing, and then it had red at the bottom with a crescent and a sun. And they said, we have to evolve more. Then 1907, it became orange with stars, the Saptarishi, the 7 stars. It had yellow, and of course, again, it had green with the star, and not actually the sun, which denotes fire, and the crescent, because it talks about Indians, Parsis, Muslims, all of that together. But then the British said, no, we want Union Jack flag also there. So their color was added with bands of red and green. And we had the crescent on one side, we had the Saptarishis for India, and then you had the Union Jack flag on the side. And then it said, no. This was in 1917. Then there's a 1921, they said, no, let's change it. It became white, green and red with our Gandhiji's charkha. Yeah. I said, nice. They said, but doesn't that talk about individual? It talks about just Gandhiji. What about India in general? No, but then it talks about hard work and all of that. Okay, then they said, no, let's have orange, white and green with the charkha. Then Sarvapalli Radhakrishna said, no, let's have the Ashoka Chakra. The chakra, the wheel of dharma, the duty. It's a duty of every Indian to do his duties, to be loyal to his country, to think only of his country as his first, and it's his home, his first home. And Nehru also said, yes, it talks about life going in circles. What goes comes around. Yes, very good. Then, of course, saffron was chosen, and it spoke about, yes, integrity, living together, all that. And, not getting attached to anything, but giving away, holding on to our country. Then there was the white. Yes, white talks about peace, harmony, living close to each other, not giving up anybody for anything. And, of course, the green. We are an irrigational country, right? Yes, farmers, our backbone. Yes, food, greenery, our ecosystem. We have to save our ecosystem. And that's what the green talks about. Isn't it beautiful? Look at the lovely messages that this flag gives us. But you have to treat it with a lot of respect, You just can't just use it like a towel. You can't use it as a tablecloth. No, nothing of that kind. It has to be given due respect, real respect. I remember as a child, my father used to take us to the top of the terrace, and he used to hoist the flag every Republic Day and Independence Day. We had to take our shower. We just can't go without a shower. No, we have to take a shower. We have to wear clean clothes, go up there and great reverence, stay there, salute, pray, and sing our national songs, our national anthem, and come back. Only then there's even coffee served. We were very strict. My father was very strict on all those things. And my father was in time before the independence, and he wore only khadi clothes. He was not very rich. He never had many clothes. He just had 2 sets of clothes. So he had to keep washing it and wearing it. On rainy days, he had to wear wet clothes and go. So people have worked so hard to get us independence, and so we have to really, enjoy it, not misuse it, and still look at it with reverence. Another thing was, as children, we used to run to school for the flag hoisting because we got nice laddus. They used to give us laddus and all kinds of sweetmeats. It used to be a great celebration. So for us, it was like Diwali or Pongal or anything. It was a great festivity. It was fun for us. Independence Day and Republic Day was something where we could go and eat a lot of food and make merry, sing songs. And, and we used to also have we used to spin cotton. We used to make mixed cotton threads, and we used to sing, we used to talk, read about Gandhiji. This was all so beautifully done. I'm not saying that schools are not doing it now, but then it was a regular feature for us. And I remember in our school, every Thursday we had a Sarvodaya Day, which is the day for Gandhiji, and then we used to speak about a lot about the Indian culture and all about what India taught us, what India has given us, what do we give it in return. So there's so much we've learned through our civics and all of that. It's been a wonderful journey for all of us. And surprisingly, my headmistress told us a story about her village during such national days. What they did was, they never celebrated Pongal and Deepavali or any of the Indian festival with such great pomp. All that they did was, during Independence Day, they whitewashed all the houses in the village. There's nothing called rich or poor. Everybody has to help each other to get their house cleaned, and every house in front of them, in the courtyard in front, they had their flag posted. They have to have the flag hoisted. And I still remember, even in our house, just at sunrise we used to raise it, and then at sunset we used to come, we used to raise it down, and my father had a way to fold it, and with great reverence we used to take it, and it had a separate cupboard where it was kept, and it was safe and kept very safe. And like I told you, it was a lot of reverence. The same thing the people of that village also did. And then there was in their village, they would everybody, like I told you, rich, poor, caste no bar, color no bar, nothing. All of them sat together in the longest road possible in their little village, and they used to eat together. And that was what happened. And that is it. So that was how they celebrated it. Imagine a whole village celebrating it. Even now we celebrate the cities, but it's all in pockets. But here the whole village gets together and says, this is our country, this is our countrymen, this is our language, this is ours, it belongs to all of us. Isn't that beautiful? Of course, you don't have to feel bad that you're somewhere else, but you're still Indians and you can still celebrate it there. And then we can always watch you from here, the way you celebrate. It's so beautiful, it's so lovely. And I'm just hoping that it'll be a grand affair. The 75th year is going to be, the whole world is going to be celebrating Indian independence, and I'm sure it's going to be such a wonderful event. So I wanted to share these little stories that I had in my life. And of course, you would have read about a lot of people who served a lot of things, who have done great things for us to get this independence. Don't forget all those wonderful people who have helped us. There have been many people. Like I told you, my father, he was not a freedom fighter, but he has also in his own way contributed. He has stood up. He had burnt his clothes. He said, no, he wasn't rich like I told you, but never mind, whatever foreign things he had, he just gave up. And from till, as far as I know, I've never seen my father in pants. He only wore handloom dhoti and handloom shirt. Yeah, I knew him. Even when he could afford to buy, expensive suits and all that. No, he always used only those. So this all shows the Indian in you, and how simple you need to lead a life. You don't have to have a lot of fancy to do something. You can be very humbly, very nicely do it. Like Gandhiji taught us, ahimsa. No violence is needed to make a point. With a lot of shanti, with a lot of peace, we can all work towards a peaceful world. And India, I think, should come number one in doing so. And I'm sure all of you there in Luxembourg, you little ones, have already started celebrating this. And I'm sure by next year, you're also going to be one more year older, and you'll understand your home, and we shall all live for India. Jai Hind. Nandri, Vanakkam.
It's wonderful to introduce a very close friend of mine and classmate. Her name is Seema Vahi Mukherjee, and she hails from Delhi. She considers storytelling to be one of the most powerful medium to be able to bring about, personal and social transformation. She's an international storyteller, and she's gone all around the world telling her stories, be it South Africa, Singapore, the UAE, and now she comes to you digitally to Luxembourg. And Seema likes to use props, and puppets being one of them. And she uses, well, not only puppets, but also, paper, discarded material, anything that goes well with the story and is appealing to the audience. That's what she uses as visual aids. And she's been mesmerizing, audiences around the world through her stories, and that includes, it could be healing stories, it could be historical stories, science stories. I mean, this is all part of her repertoire, and no doubt she's going to do exactly the same with you. My pleasure to introduce you to Seema Mukherjee.
Next year, we would be celebrating 75 years of Indian independence. The celebrations have already begun. But do you know, hundreds of years ago, India was known as Sone ki Chidiya, or the golden bird, for it was a rich and prosperous land, ruled by powerful rulers. When people across the countries learnt of it, they came to India. Some came to invade and loot. The Britishers came under the garb of traders. But slowly, slyly, and surely, using the philosophy of divide and rule, they became the rulers of the entire Indian subcontinent. I read this in my history books long ago when I was a child. And I also learnt that there were people who rose, people who were young and old, men and women and even children as young as 13 years old, who came forward, people from different religions, different castes, people who were educated and those who were not. They all came forward to contribute in their own way to get freedom for India. And they were known as freedom fighters. Sometimes the history books also refer to them as revolutionaries or terrorists. I often wondered about it as a child. I also wondered that what is it which makes a human being get out of their comfort zone, come out to fight for a cause, to take the news willingly, kiss it and die for freedom of the country, freedom which you would not even see your own self. What kind of people were they? I wondered. Last year, I came across a story which originated in Jallianwala Bagh. And today I've got the story to share it with you. Once upon a time, 101 years ago, when we did not know freedom like today we know, and when my country was under the rule of British, one day he, Udham Singh, stood looking around him, seeing people wounded, dying, dead. Blood everywhere. He heard shrieks and cries and wails of men and women and children, injured and dying. Was it a dream or was it real? And who was he? What had happened there? Well, he was Udham Singh, a 19-year-old young boy. A boy who was an orphan. He had come there to serve water to the people who had gathered there, to serve water to the thirsty. People who had gathered at Jallianwala Bagh, a ground, gathered on the holy occasion of the harvest festival, their main festival. People had come all the way from villages near and far. And then there were people from the city itself who had gone to visit the holiest shrine they had and taken a dip at the holy waters and then gathered at that ground. That ground had only one narrow entrance, and it was surrounded by high walls on all sides. There were boys who had gathered to play there like they did every day. And then there were some people who had gathered to protest peacefully against the arrest of two leaders of the city. And he, Uddam Singh, was serving water to all, when suddenly in marched 50 soldiers led by a British general. They took positions. The gathering realized what had happened, and hush, a silence fell. They waited for next instructions. None came. The only orders were to the soldiers. Fire! Next 10 minutes, 1,650 rounds of bullets were fired at innocent, unsuspecting, unarmed children, men and women, young and old. Some died immediately, and then there was mayhem. They ran helter and skelter, wanting to escape, but where could they escape? The only entrance was blocked by the British. So some tried to climb the walls which were there. The guns shot at them, and they fell dead. There are bullet marks in those walls even today. Some spotted a well, and they wanted to hide inside, so they jumped inside. And more followed, and more, and all of them suffocated inside the well. Some fell during that stampede with people running helter-skelter and got trampled upon. 10 minutes, hundreds dead, thousands injured. The firing stopped. The soldiers were led out by the British general. Curfew was imposed on the city, and no help came to the injured, dying, or dead. And he, Uddam Singh, who had gone to serve water there, he looked around in horror, in disbelief, shock, angry, sad, all at the same time. He tried to help as many, but there was not much he could do. And then he took some blood-soaked soil in his hand, held it in his fist, looked up at the sky and around, and took a vow to avenge the death of his countrymen. The sky, the ground, and the wind stood witness. In that ground had walked a 19-year-old young boy, eager to serve water, and out walked a 19-year-old man with fire of revenge and anger and hatred burning inside his heart, and a desire to free his country of Britishers. And he became a freedom fighter. This is the story of 19-year-old Uddam Singh and how he became a freedom fighter. This story has reached you, but many stories of different freedom fighters who sacrificed their lives for freedom of India may never see light and may never reach your ears. But their sacrifices were equally important as sacrifices of those stories which you hear. So as we begin the celebrations, the 75th year celebrations for independence of India, let's close our eyes and remember the sung and unsung freedom fighters without whose sacrifices India would not be free today. Thank you.
What was that? What was the noise? What was it happening? Yes, the forest fire. The forest had caught fire, blazing fire that rose up to the skies. Everywhere, animals were running helter skelter. They were running to every corner to take shelter. Some swam across the river to go to the other side of the river to be away, to be not burnt down. And in the middle of this big forest stood a huge banyan tree. So huge, one can't believe the size of it. A minimum of 30-40 people, if they stood like a chain, could only then hold the trunk of the tree. It was that large. Just imagine how huge it would be. And then, in that huge tree, lived so many creatures. Plenty. Little squirrels, little birds, little worms, little animals, all of them. It was a home for hundreds and hundreds of them. But the moment the trees were burning, they knew sooner or later their tree would be burnt, and some of them started flying, some of them started running, some of them started leaping. They started doing everything to clear the place. But then there was one bird, a parrot, and she called out, "Hey, this is our home. Where are you all going? Don't abandon our home. This is our home. Don't go, don't go." But did they listen? No, they said, "Don't be foolish, parrot. You're going to be burnt to death. Who needs a home when it's going to be burnt? It's no longer a home." She said, "No. It has sheltered us for generations. We have lived here for long. Our forefathers have lived here. Our families have lived here. How can you abandon the shelter that we have had all these years? Stop it. Let's all join hands to find a solution of how to put out the fire." Now, nobody listened. They said, "Foolish parrot. You think you can do something like this? You think you can achieve this? What's wrong with you?" And they started fleeing. They went one by one, and the parrot looked this side and that side and said, "I have to do something. I have to do something." And what did she see? She saw a stream flowing by. She said, "I know what to do." And she flew to the river, dipped herself, splash, splash, splish, splash, 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 splish, splash, wet herself fully from head to foot. She flew back. And she stood on top of the tree and she fluttered her wings. She fluttered her wings. She shook herself and shook herself. She shook her tail. She shook her tail. Drops of water started falling on the tree. Drops and drops and drops of water. Did it do any good? No. The blazes were still blazing. The animals had got onto the other bank of the river and they went running to the king. And they said, King Lion, look what that foolish bird is doing. She's trying to save the tree from burning. Doesn't she realize it's impossible? She's going to get killed. We need to save her. She's not listening to any of us. And you, being the king, you can order her to come back. I'm sure she would. Please do it. They all told the king. The king looked. Well, you're right. That's foolish of her to do. Let me call out. So he stood on a stone, on a high stone, on the other bank, and roared his mighty roar. And he said, Parrot, I command you to come back at once. I don't want you here. If you don't listen to me, I will send you out of this forest. You will be banned from entering this forest. Do you understand? He roared. The parrot from there squawked. He said, ow, 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 no. This is our home. I need to protect our home. I cannot let this happen. Please, let me do. I wish we could all join hands to do together, but nobody is cooperating. But I shall do it even if I die. She went on and on, flap, 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 taking the water, dipping herself in water, coming back and spluttering all over, moving it and moving it and moving it and moving it and moving her body and moving her wings and moving her tail and drops of water. No. Yes, each time it fell, it made a sizzling noise of tss, tss, tss. But in vain. All the animals, come back, come back, come back, they shouted. She was determined to save her home. Just then Lord Indra from the heaven looked at what was happening. He said, what is that? What is she doing? Why is she doing this? What's wrong with her? And he knew. He sat for some time and he heard what the other animals were speaking and what the parrot was saying. He said, yes. He said, Agni, you've done your work. Now I want Varuna, the rain god, to go and rain on the spot. And of course, Varuna said, yes, my lord. And he went drop by drop, drizzles. And this is where Indra did his magic. He said, this bird is no ordinary bird. She is very special. She is beautiful. She is wonderful. I need to gift her. So Varuna, when each of your raindrop falls on that little parrot, they will have different colors. And so it was. Drop by drop. Blue, red, yellow, green, grey, all possible colors. It was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. The rain plop, clip, plop, rained. It rained heavily. All the animals stood in silence watching the rain. How did the rain come all of a sudden? There was not a single rain cloud. How did the sky burst like this with rain? They were surprised. And they looked around. And they all said, oh, the parrot must be dead by now. He must be gone by now. And so saying, they said, oh, dear parrot, if only you had listened to us. If only you had come along with us, you would have been saved by now. We really feel sad that you're not there anymore. Now we are going to go back to the forest, which was saved by the gods. But you are not there. You who claimed that this was your home is no longer your home. Mumbling and talking among themselves, feeling very sad, they slowly and steadily swam across. Some of them flew across and crept across the river. They went there. And all the creatures went to that same banyan tree where they had lived. Of course, they said, it's nice to be back. It's so good. But then, we're going to miss the parrot. Oh, parrot, this tree will always be called the parrot tree. What's that noise? Where does the noise come from? What's that? Where's the noise coming from? What's that? What is it that we hear? What is it? What is it? They looked in wonder, and from the leaves from behind, ta-na-na-na-na-na, ta-na-na-na, ta-na-na-na-na-na-na, ta-na-na-na-na-na, ta-na-na-na, ta-na-na-na-na-na, ta-na, ta-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, ta-na-na-na-na-na-na, ta-na-na-na-na-na, ta-na-na-na, ta-na-na-na-na-na-na. They saw something spectacular and they looked open-mouthed. They were shocked to see. There stood the most gorgeous, the most colorful, the most beautiful bird right in front. They said, you. The parrot smiled and said, that's right, it's me, your sister parrot. How did it become so colorful? Because we saw your wings being scorched. We saw your tail burnt. We saw your head feathers being burnt. But here you are, filled with colors. How did it happen? They asked. Just then Lord Indra descended from above and said, that is the gift she receives from the gods of the heavens. Someone who loves her home, who's loyal to her home, who feels her home is her place to live. And that's why we gifted her the colors. So whenever we see the macaw with its colors, we realize how important home is. Yes, you might all be living in Luxembourg, but still our country, our home, our land is always close to our hearts, and that's where we belong. No matter how far we go, we still belong as Indians to India, bringing pride. Some bring pride in India by staying in India in their home. But of course the others like you go far away, but still flying the colors of our country high up to say how brilliant Indians are and what a wonderful country India is. And that's what colors teach you. Not only that, where colors teach you how to join together. Color is just an appearance. It doesn't matter. Together, it's all one. The beautiful rainbow we see teaches you 100 lessons, right? Of how unified we can all be, of different races, different colors, to make a beautiful life around, like the rainbow. So, my dear friends, when you see a macaw, remember your home is your identity. Your mother tongue is your identity. Don't forget that, and remember, colors always bring joy. And whenever you think of India, all that you can think of are the vibrant colors that India has. Thank you.
Colors make a world so beautiful. Colors make a world so wonderful. Colors make a world so beautiful. Colors make a world so wonderful. Colors, colors, so many colors. Red, yellow, blue and green, and all the colors in between. All the colors make a world so beautiful and colorful. They make it worth living. Have you ever taken colors, put it all on your hands, sometimes on your face, and been scolded for that? Well, in India, there's one special festival which is celebrated where people play with lots and lots of colors. Children, their parents, grandparents, all of them play together and no one scolds each other. They just have fun putting color on each other. And let me put some color for you too. Here. And from you to me. Here. Some more, some red. And here. And a bit of green here. Now I put color on you, and from your side I put color on myself too. For right now we are far away, but I hope one day we would be able to be together and play with colors together. Well, why are we talking about colors today? Because it's occasion of Holi, and Holi is known as the festival of colors. Why do we celebrate Holi? Have you ever wondered that? And why do we play with colors on Holi? Well, there are many stories about it. But there's one story which I am going to share with you today. Long, long ago, on the banks of Yamuna, in the village of Gokul, lived a mighty king, or shall I say a chieftain, and his name was Nanda. Nanda lived with his wife Yashoda and baby Krishna. Now Krishna, the little baby, was actually divine incarnation of Lord Vishnu. But when Krishna came into Yashoda's life, she didn't know about it. She just loved her baby, just the way he was, like all mothers love their children. She would feed him, change his clothes, play with him, sing to him, and do everything which mothers do for their children. And little baby Krishna, he would look at his mother with big, big eyes and sometimes smile. Sometimes he would coo and sometimes gurgle. That delighted Yashoda so much. She was so happy to have such a handsome boy, someone she considered her sun and moonbeams and sun rays and everything which brought on light to the universe. That was her baby for her. Well, little baby Krishna slowly started growing up. And soon, from being in the lab, he wanted to be put down. And he learned to crawl. And from crawling, he learned to stand and hold and walk. Pitter patter of his feet would be everywhere as he was learning to walk. And Yashoda delighted in seeing her small child run around the house and outside. Krishna grew up more, and now with all the other boys his age, he was also supposed to go to graze the cows. For in his tribe, that is what young boys did. They took the cows during the day for grazing. And while the cows were grazing, they played with each other, they ran around, they made up games, sometimes they fought. And sometimes, or shall I say rather every time, they made up, and in the evening they came back home with the cows, hungry. Krishna would always go and ask his mother, I'm hungry, give me food, Ma, give me food. And his mother would be ready with a big thali, but she would always tell him to wash his hands before he ate. And that's what Krishna did. Days passed, grazing the cows continued. And meanwhile, Krishna learned to play the flute. He would play it so beautifully that anyone who listened to the music would be mesmerized. Sometimes the sound of the music wafted through the air and reached the villages around. It captivated the people, and they wondered at this young boy who played such melodious music on the flute. One day, a group of girls from Barsana village came following the music, and they saw Krishna playing it. Now, amongst these girls was one very special girl whose name was Radha. Radha was strangely pulled towards Krishna, and soon Krishna and Radha became very good friends. Every day they would meet, and Krishna would play music while Radha would listen. One day, looking at them standing together, one of Radha's friends started laughing. Look at you, Radha. You are so fair. And look at Krishna. He's so dark. He's like the night while you are like the day. How different you are from each other. Well, looking at them, the other boys and girls too began to laugh. Now Krishna felt very embarrassed. He had never ever thought about its skin color. He looked at his skin color and noticed, yes, he was indeed dark. And he looked at Radha. She was rather fair, opposite of him. Well, his parents had loved him so much and always praised him and never ever made him feel that he was any different from others. So this was the first time that he felt rejected, he felt criticized, and he felt as if there was something wrong with him. Even if it was just the color of skin, he was still different. He looked around. The boys and the girls were fair like Radha. Even his brother Balram was fair. He was the only one who was dark. He didn't feel very happy. And that day, when Radha went away with her friends, Krishna too went back home. And when he went back home, he went and he sat in a corner and sulked. His mother came and she asked him, "What is it, Krishna? Why do you look so upset? Aren't you hungry today? Come, I've got special white butter for you and laddus too." But Krishna just sulked and said, "Why am I so dark, Ma? And why is Radha so fair? Why am I so dark?" Well, Yashoda didn't know what to say. She just said, "Krishna, you were born at the middle of the night, and maybe that's why you were dark. But my son, for me, you are the sun and the moon, and the sun rays and the moonbeams, and everything which lights up the universe. How does it matter what is the color of your skin? You are beautiful inside out. Your goodness shines through." But Krishna could not be consoled. He just kept saying, "Why am I so dark, Ma? I don't like my dark color. I want to be like Radha. I want to be fair." Well, Yashoda didn't know what to do. So she just hugged her baby Krishna and comforted him. Next day, when Krishna woke up, he did not want to go to graze the cows. But his mother cajoled him. She told him maybe no one would make fun of you today. But that day too, that girl, she made fun of Krishna again and called him dark. And every time Radha would go and stand near Krishna, this girl would start laughing. Well, the same happened on the third day and the fourth and the fifth and the sixth and the seventh. On eighth day, Krishna decided that now when he goes, he would look like Radha. He would put something white on himself so that he looks white too. He becomes fair. So Krishna on the eighth day took a lot of white butter. He smeared it all over his body and on his face. And then he looked in the mirror. He indeed looked fair. But as he stepped out of the house, the sun was shining brightly and all the butter melted away. Krishna felt very sad. He went inside. He cleaned himself and then he came out. He saw that his mother Yashoda was making chapatis. He looked at the flour. It was light in color. He got another idea. He went and he picked up the flour and he smeared it on his body. He did look fair again, indeed. But as he walked, the entire flour fell down, dusted away. I don't want to go out like this, looking so dark, Ma. I'm not going today. Yashoda looked at Krishna and said, Krishna, you're making so much of effort in wanting to be fair. Why don't you do one thing? Color Radha in your color. Or rather, why don't we prepare colors and you could all color each other? You could color Radha, Radha could color you. And you could put color on your friends who are boys as well as girls. Krishna felt delighted. That was an excellent idea. But how would he get the color? What should he use? Yashoda said, we must use colors made of flowers and vegetables, for they should not harm anyone's skin. Let me finish all my work and then I will help you. Don't go out today. So Krishna sat and waited, and in the meanwhile he went and he got some beetroot for purple color. He got spinach to get green color. He got turmeric to get yellow color. And he got flame of the forest flowers to get red color. He put all of it together ready to make colors with his mother. And when his mother came, both of them started making colors together. Well, on the other side, the boys had been waiting for Krishna. But Krishna had not come. So they reached Krishna's house and they asked him, Krishna, aren't you coming today? What are you doing? And Krishna said, today I'm making colors. My mother has told me that we can play with colors tomorrow. And I am going to play a prank on Radha and all the other girls and color them. The boys had this naughty look in their eyes. Their eyes began to glint. We could do that too. We must go home to our mothers and get their help. We will make some color as well. And that's what they did too. By next morning, a lot of color was ready. And the boys put all the color in small packets and carried it. While they were going, one of the boys' mother called out, why don't you take your water guns as well? Fill them with water and put some rose water also inside it. Once you put color on each other, you could always wash it off using the water guns, the pichkaris. The boys loved the idea and they loaded their pichkaris with water and off they went. Now, they thought that they would take the girls by surprise. So instead of going to the place they went every day, they reached the village of Barsana, where Radha and her friends stayed. And when the girls were least expecting, the boys jumped with all the colors in their hands, and they started smearing color over the girls. The girls didn't like it. "What is this? What are you doing to me? Don't touch me. I don't like this color," they said. The boys laughed and they said, "Let's all play with colors and have fun. It would be so nice. Look at yourself, look at each other. We are all colorful now." Well, the girls looked at each other. They indeed looked quite colorful with different colors on their faces and their arms, and it looked like fun. So they took some colors from the boys and they smeared the faces of the boys, including Krishna's. They looked at each other and laughed. They were so happy. And once they were done, the boys took out the water guns and they used it to wash all the color on others away. They had so much fun that day. And when they went back home, both the boys and the girls, they were smiling and singing and happy. That was the day they had even put colors on other boys and girls who they didn't like too. And they realized that they had made new friends. Even with those they had not liked earlier, it was so much fun to play with color with everyone. When Krishna reached home, he had a big smile on his face. He went and he told his mother, "Ma, I am hungry." And his mother smiled. "You look happy, Krishna." "Yes, Ma, yes, I'm so happy. Thank you for the wonderful idea. Can we do this every day?" Yashoda laughed. "No, Krishna, we can't do it every day, but we can do it every year. Every year, during spring, we will make colors and all of us will gather together. The young and the old, children, parents and grandparents, and we would play with colors. That day, even enemies will become friends, and we will wash away all the anger or the resentment or grudges we have collected in our hearts the entire year. That would be the day of colors, of happiness, of friendship and love. And, my friends, this is how the festival of Holi started being celebrated, by putting colors on each other.
ஈசனடி போற்றி சிவனடியே போற்றி கைலாதநாதனே போற்றி ஈசன் பெருமானே போற்றி போற்றி போற்றி. The songs of Lord Shiva was filled in Kailash, every corner. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Shiva was seated, listening to all of this in joy. When his wife Parvati came inside and he said, "Nada, Swami," and he said, "Looks like you have a request. What is it?" he asks. And she says, "Swami, my father is organizing a huge puja, a huge yaga. I want to go for it, please. And Shiva said, I know, sometimes girls love their father a lot more than their husbands. Now he said that because, much against the will of her parents, Parvati married Shiva. And then he continued asking, well, did you get an invitation? For which she said, not really, but I would like to go. And then he said, you may go, but remember, you will not be treated as you want to. And remember, your husband is going to be insulted. Do you think you can take all of that? He asked. And Parvati said, oh, these husbands forever suspecting their fathers-in-law. Come on, he's not like that, she said. Not wanting to say anything more, he says, fine, Devi, go ahead. Go visit your father. And in her finery, she left Kailash to her father's home. Of course, the father's house was filled with festivity. The yaga was in process and it was wonderful. Lots of decoration, food on one side, women on one side, men on one side. Preparations for the puja was all getting ready. And of course, when Parvati came in, the father didn't bother to even welcome her. He just said, unwanted guests. I know, invited. I don't know why people are here. Now she felt bad, but she said, it's okay. It's only that. It's all right, she said, and continued. But he didn't stop there. He started piercing her with words of insults of her husband. She tried her best to keep her cool, but she could not. More than anger, it was disappointment. More than that, she felt that, oh, my Swami told me. He prepared me. He said, there's going to be some problem. You must be careful, he said, but I never listened. That was it. She felt very bad and she said, I need to punish myself for being disobedient. I should have listened to my husband, which I didn't do. And in an instant, she jumped into the live fire and burnt herself. Now news reached Kailash. Now Shiva, this third eye, was very angry. He said, how can that happen? How could that happen to my wife? I have to protect my wife. It is my duty to protect my wife, he said. And off he went to meet her father-in-law. And there, as soon as he saw, he didn't wait a second. He opened his third eye and right there, the father-in-law Dakshin was burned to dust. And having lost his wife, because once she dies, he has to wait for a next birth to be united. And he knew that was going to happen. And having left his wife, whom he loves so much, he decides to go on meditation. He just goes off. It's okay to go in meditation, but who's going to do his duties? We know the three Trinity and their jobs. The Brahma, the creator, Vishnu, the protector, and Shiva, the destroyer of evil. What's going to happen? There was pandemonium on all three worlds. The underworld, the world, and the heavens. It broke. People didn't know what to do. They tried their best to shake up Lord Shiva out of his penance, but no use. Nobody could do anything about it. Meanwhile, Parvati had her next birth and she was ready to join Shiva. But when she came, she knew that he was in deep meditation and nobody could do anything. She went and pleaded, Swami, I've come back. Your Shakti is back, please. Your Shakti is back, I'm here. I'm here for you, please accept me. She tried her level best, but in vain. In vain. It didn't help at all. She tried. She said, maybe I can sing his praises, and started praising. She started chanting mantras. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. A million times. Deaf ears. She screamed, she pleaded, she tried everything. She didn't know what to do, but then she said, there's one thing that might work. Huh? The Cupid, Kamadeva, the god of love. If he can help me, I think I can get back my husband, she said. But she knew that by doing so, there's going to be some danger, but let me ask. So she goes to Lord Kamadeva, the god of love, and says, Kamadeva, please help me. We can't let Shiva be like this. He needs to save this earth. He needs to serve the heavens. He can't be inactive. Things are all waiting for him. There's pandemonium in all the three worlds. Please, you have to do something. And of course, Kamadeva said, yes, what is it, mother? Tell me. What should I do? Just tell me. She said, you have the arrow of love. You need to shoot it. And when he opens, because I know that love is something that is close to him. Be it human beings, be it animals, be it any living being. Love is something that he surrenders to. And I know that he loves me so much. That his heart is filled with loneliness because I am not there. He is not opening up to see that I am there or not. But you will have to do it. Kamadeva, of course, took a deep breath and said, I know the consequences, but it's all right. I'm ready to sacrifice myself for a situation. I will be there for you. I will do the needful. Don't worry. And so he took this beautiful flowered bow and arrow. It never had piercing arrows. It was filled with the flowers of all colors. The flowers of spring, the fragrant flowers that would make anyone fall in love. And there was Shiva in total meditation. Parvati standing beside, not knowing what to do. And there was Kama. He picks up his bow, strings it on his bow, and let it go. It goes straight and pierces the heart of Shiva, and Shiva opens his eyes, and what does he see in front of him is Kamadeva standing there, smiling. He said, how dare you do this? How could you do this to my meditation? You have disturbed me. I shall not spare you, not a minute. He spoke in a voice of anger and anguish. And then and there, right from his third eye, he shot fire that burnt Kamadeva, who was right in front of him, into ashes. And of course, after doing that and seeing Parvati, he calmed down. He was happy to be united with Parvati. But then Parvati said, Lord, it's no fault of Kamadeva. I had no choice. I pleaded. I prayed. I did all that I could to make you come out of meditation, but you didn't. I had no choice but to ask Kamadeva. Now he has sacrificed his life for us. You need to please do this favor. Get him back alive. Shiva smiled and said, well, it was his destiny, and that's what happened. But I will bring him back to life. But he is going to be invisible. He will not have a form. And nobody will know when he will strike people where they start loving each other. Not only human beings, animals, birds, all living things, plants, everything. And of course, Kamadeva was given life, and he came to life. Yes, he came to life. And people in southern India celebrate this as the colorful Holi. Yes, it is for the sacrifice. So, of course, they pour colored water, particularly young women, and not women, young girls of marriageable age and young boys. They pour turmeric water all over, and they say, on whomever the water falls, normally they are chosen as the bride for that groom. And that's celebrated in all the tiny villages in southern India. It's a beautiful way of getting acquainted to each other, and they think that pouring of the water signifies the Cupid's arrow that goes and touches the heart of youngsters to get into marriage, to live a happy life, and to celebrate the sacrifice of Kamadeva. So Holi has got so many stories. Story of Holika, the Prahalad story, Krishna and Radha, the Dundi ogress, and the Kamadeva story. Not many of us know this story, but this is such a beautiful story. And it has got to do with the arrival of spring. The flowers that bloom, the fragrance it spreads, all to do with love, all to do with an atmosphere of happiness, of joy, of celebration. And that's what happened when Kamadeva lost his life. And that's all. One story why Holi is celebrated in southern India with a slight difference. It's not multicolored, it's mostly turmeric water, which is auspicious, which is also good disinfectant. Isn't it beautiful? Such lovely stories we have in India about how we celebrate and why we celebrate so many festivals. It's got its own beauty. And don't forget, it happens even now everywhere. Of course, many of us know Holi as the most colorful, applying color all over, but then there are also a lot of significance behind these things. Like I told you, brides and bridegrooms are chosen this way. Isn't it interesting? In some of the smallest villages, it still happens. And that's the story that I'd like to share about Holi. The next story is going to be something about colors. Wait and watch.
Holi is a festival of colors, and colors are all around us. They bring us so much joy. I love to see the colors in a rainbow. And today, on this festival of Holi, let me bring to you a story which I wrote, inspired by a native Indian tale, Legend of a Rainbow. Once upon a time, long, long ago, in the sky lived a cloud. And the cloud was very soft and fluffy, so everyone called him Fluffy. Fluffy loved to float in the sky and look at Earth. Earth was so beautiful, so colorful. It had white in snow. It had sands golden and silver. It had mountains brown. It had water blue, just like the sky. And then the color of the flowers, different ones, and colors of fruits and vegetables. The entire earth was a riot of colors, and Fluffy used to love looking at it. One day, when Fluffy was happily floating around in the sky, he heard some sounds. How could the sounds reach so high in the sky? And he strained his ear. I am the best. I'm the best. I am the best. What? It seems as if someone is fighting, Fluffy thought. So slowly he came down and looked. And what he saw, he could not believe. The colors on earth were fighting with each other. And each one was either saying that it is the most important color, it is the color of life, or it is the best. Fluffy watched them for a while and then he yelled, "Stop! Stop this fighting!" The colors stopped. They got scared. They looked up. "You cloud, you are telling us to stop? Why should we stop for you?" "Well, I thought all of you lived together in peace. Why are you fighting?" Red answered, "Well, we are fighting because one of us has to be the best. And I think it's me." No, said Yellow. "I am the best. I am the best." Just then Green said, "No, I am the best." And Fluffy said, "Stop! Why do you think you're the best? Come out, tell me why you think you're the best and I will decide who's the best." The colors looked at each other. That was a great idea. But who would go out first? They looked and they looked and they looked. And who do you think would come out first? Out came a color which is called the color of nature. Let me show which color it is. Green. Green came, stood nicely and said, "I am green. I am the color of nature, Mother Nature. I am there in the trees. I am there in the plants and grass. Without me, the animals cannot survive. So I give life. I am the color of life. East or west, green is the best." And Green stood there. Which color do you think will come out next? Out came blue. And blue started twirling around beautifully and then said, "I am blue. I am the color of water in the deep seas. I am the color in rivers and lakes and ponds. I am the color of the sky. And without sky and water, how can there be life? So I am the color of life. East or west, blue is the best." And Blue stood. Now that blue had come out too, which color do you think would come out next? Guess, guess, guess. Any guesses? Out came red and it said, "I am red. I am the color of bravery and courage. I am also the color of blood which runs through the veins. And without blood, there can be no life. So I am the color of life. East or west, red is the best." Well, after red, which color do you think will come out to present itself? Any guesses? Out came violet. And Violet stood there and said, "I am Violet. I am the color of power, of authority, for I am worn by the kings, by the chiefs, by the high priests. Without authority, without power, how can life exist? So I am the color of life. East or west, violet is the best." And Violet stood there. Well, after violet, which color do you think will come out to present itself? Guess, guess, guess. Out came orange, and orange just twirled around and then settled itself and said, I am orange. I am not seen much, but a little bit of me in the sky at sunset and sunrise makes it spectacular. Everyone looks at it and calls it beautiful. I'm also the color present in the vitamins and the minerals in fruits and vegetables like oranges, carrots, and they are very important for life. So I am the color of life. East or west, orange is the best. And now that orange had also presented itself, which color would come out next? Any guesses? Oh yes, it was yellow. And yellow came out, stood there and said, hello, hello, I am yellow, hello, hello, I am yellow. All of you are too serious. I am yellow. I am the color of happiness and cheer. I am the color of sun too. And without sun and without happiness and cheer, can there be any life? No, not at all. So I am the color of life. East or west, yellow is the best. Hello, hello, I'm yellow, yellow, yellow. And yellow too stood there, happy. Now that so many colors had come out, which color was left? Well, out came indigo. And indigo settled itself and said, I am indigo. I am the color of inner peace. And without inner peace, what is life? Close your eyes. Tune into your heart. Do you have inner peace? Yes, I am the color of life. East or west, indigo is the best. Now that all the colors had come out, they all stood there, waiting for Fluffy the Cloud to declare who was the best. And Fluffy just looked at them, thinking, each one is so different, so unique, so important in their own way. What should it say? Well, the colors could not wait. When Fluffy wouldn't say anything, they just started fighting again and they said, I am the best, I am the best, I am the best, I am the best, I am the best. Well, as their noise and the fighting and the level of the sound rose, the anger Fluffy felt rose too. It hated to see them fight so. It got so angry that it called its friends, come thunder, come lightning, come rain. Thunder came and roared. Lightning came and it flashed everywhere. And rain fell so fast. It was a terrible, terrible storm. The colors got shocked and surprised. What had happened out of the blue? They all started feeling scared and cowering in fear. They just sat there. They looked at each other. And just then, Indigo held out his hand to Blue and said, Blue, don't be scared. I will look after you. And Blue came and held Indigo's hand. And then Indigo took out his other hand and he said, Violet, come join in. And Violet held Indigo's hand too. 3 of them stood together. Looking at them, Green came running and said, Blue, can I join you too? And Blue held Green's hand. And Green pulled Orange and Orange pulled Yellow. And Yellow held hands with Red, who was pretending to be brave. They all felt comfort in holding hands together, and they all drew closer till the time that they were so close to each other, just next like this. Looking at that, the clouds asked thunder, lightning and rain to stop. And then he said, "Look at you. All of you look so beautiful. You are so different and distinct, and each one so important, and yet you keep fighting. Now that you have come together, remain like this, and from now on, whenever there is a struggle, whenever there is din, either in the sky, like the rain and the thunder and the lightning now, or otherwise, once it stops, out will come all the colors together, just like you, in form of a rainbow, a beautiful rainbow. And this rainbow would give people hope. It will tell them to cooperate with each other, to live together in peace, for you together in a rainbow, or a symbol of hope, cooperation, and peace." All the colors together thanked Fluffy the Cloud for teaching them a very important lesson. And they decided that they would always live together in peace. May all of us, you, me, and all the people across the world of different nations, different religions, learn to live together in peace, just like the colors of the rain. Thank you.
A huge thank you to you, the wonderful audience, for tuning in today and watching the show. And a big thank you to the Ambassador, His Excellency Mr. Santosh Jha, and to the lovely women, the storytellers, Jiva and Seema, and to the entire IAL committee for bringing this together, the digital group who put this together. Thanks to each one of you and everyone who's been involved in making this program a success. Thank you and see you soon.